Okay, time being 7 o'clock, I'll declare this meeting open. Town of Walkerville would like to acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the land we meet on today and respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We recognise the many generations of stewardship the Kaurna people have provided to this land and respect that their cultural heritage and beliefs are as important today as they were for their ancestors. Present, we have one Councillor Menke, who is running late, I understand. Councillor Vanstone is on a leave of absence. We have no apologies. Staff attendance as set out there on the screen. So item 3, declarations of interest. Are any declarations of interest tonight? Thank you, Councillor Trotter.
No to the declaration of interest for 4.3. That my husband is the president of the Walkerville Bowling Club. For this, I see it as a, sorry, I've got it here, it's the new system, as a material interest. Even though it's not paid to the role, I still see that I'll leave the room as you'll be discussing fees for the bowling club. And I won't vote.
Thank you, Councillor Trotter. Any other declaration of interest? Okay.
Just a question, if possible, Your Worship. Obviously, fees and charges have come and affect the whole chamber. Is it possible if someone has a conflict that we could just set aside that particular item but still have them in to discuss the rest? Just want to seek some advice on that, because when it comes to like the budget, fees and charges and other things, there may be several interests that we have over time when we're involved in community clubs, and just want to get some guidance. That way the member doesn't have to miss the whole matter because of there was one item in there, whether it's possible that we set aside the bowling club so that Councillor Trotter can participate. I just want to seek some advice on that, because I'm sure every time it's going to affect many of us.
Through the chair, we can absolutely do that. We can split the fees and charges into 2 different resolutions. That council, if that is the wording that you would like to go, that council adopts the fees and charges except the bowling club, and then the bowling club fees and charges become a second resolution where Councillor Trotter can declare, where she has declared the material conflict of interest, and then she can leave the room and not divide and take part in that motion only, which is related to fees and charges of bowling club. The rest she can, so we can do that.
Okay, so we'll do all of that when we get to that item.
Yeah, and then that way you're not missing for everything.
Thank you. Okay, so item 4, decision reports, and 4.1, the annual business plan and budget 26-27. Mohammed, anything to add?
Nothing further to add, Nat. Thank you.
Any questions on this report?
Thanks. I just wondering, on the other public meeting, one of the residents asked about having benches.
Benches.
Yeah, the spare benches for the older people. I would also like to check, like I spoken one of the older community member from the Chetty Cafe, and she was also interested joining the strength classes, but she couldn't because she has some joint pains or she can't sit on the floors. So I was just wondering, instead of Pilates, can we have some other chair mobility programs for the older people so that they can feel active and stay safe? I'm not sure what kind.
I think that's not really a question specifically to do with this item. Okay, so I think that's a question that we can deal with separately to the business plan and budget. We can deal with it, but not in this item.
I just reading, so that's why I just thought to say no. Yeah. No, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor Allinson?
Just on page 22, I think that matches up. Just of the annual business plan. I think it's 22 of the document. It just talks about, and it's about the council members. It just says on November 11th, 2026, the local government elections will be held, determining the sitting for the next 4 years. That's now just needs to be updated to a different time.
Yeah.
Good pickup.
That's a good pickup.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding this item? Okay.
Sorry, just following Councillor Allison's comment around the pickup of the local government elections, just checking that the figures in the budget will actually reflect, we're not expecting any additional costs to run the election or any variations with the changes made. to communicate to residents? Because the reason I ask that is, obviously we had banners out there recently advertising that the council elections are coming up. We may need additional communications to communicate to residents that actually EXA are holding it up. So I just wanted to get to my understanding if the figures in the budget reflect the changes and if we're expecting any more costs.
Through the chair, I'm not expecting any additional cost due to this change. We haven't made the banners or anything as yet, but in terms of the election cost itself, I'm not seeing any increase that we need to be considered of.
So there were banners around the township a little while ago advertising that they
I
were
think they were generic. Though.
generic. Were they? Okay.
Not specific to the.
Okay. Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, so mover, thank you, councillor Allinson, seconded by councillor Core. All those in favour? That's carried. So item 4.2 is the long-term financial plan, 2027 to 2036. Mohammed or Adele, anything to add?
Nothing further to add, Mayor. Just want to say it is a good long-term financial plan. It shows that we are financially sustainable. Thank you.
Any questions on this report? Okay. Anyone like to move it? Councillor Williams, thank you. Seconded by councillor Trotter. All those in favour? That's carried. So item 4.3, fees and charges policy. So we will split this into two resolutions. Just have a show of hands to be able to, or do I need a resolution?
We can just resolve. Otherwise, this is just officer recommendation. We could just come up with the resolution.
Okay.
Other than this.
So we'll just split this to firstly only deal with fees and charges not relating to the bowling club. And councillor Trotter will remain in the room. And we'll vote on that, and then we'll have a separate resolution to do with the bowling club. So, Mohammed or Adele, anything to add to this report?
Nothing further to add, Mayor.
Okay, any questions relating to anything that's not the bowling club fees and charges? I've got a couple of questions. The brass plates and just the increase in those, I was just curious about that cost and whether it should just be a cost plus, if there's going to be some movement in the cost of bronze or granite during the year. But also, why does council provide those? Is it not just provided by the people who are getting the item?
Yeah, I would just refer you to James about the cemetery.
Pardon me. So we've, through the chair, we've spoken to Adelaide Cemeteries, and they've given us their anticipated costs for bronze, for materials essentially, and the expected increase. But that's what they on charge to the families or the inquirers to the site. So we recover that cost.
So is it so that they're standardised plaques in the cemetery? Why?
Yeah. Obviously wording, slight changes, but as far as size and materials, standard.
Okay, councillor Trotter.
Same question. I mean, only because I've done this exercise just recently, I was quoted around 2.5 for a plaque to be put on. So that's why I'm like, so is that what they're saying? Is it from that price? Or
Through the chat, without knowing the specifics of your
well, it was just
order.
purely just an internment with a plaque. So the internment was, they were looking at it, and the internment they said was after the purchase was $500 for an internment, and then it was the plaque was around 2.5, depending on, and there was only one person that did them in the community, like in Adelaide.
Through the chair, so the site interment right, which is the right for that section, varies in value based on location. So it could be in the location that change that cost. But the plaque costs, depending if they're listed here in the fees and charges, they should remain set for the 12 months.
So the internment was just putting the ashes in. So that was just doing that part of it. The plot was a different price again. So that's why I thought they were totally different amounts. I mean, I'm happy to.
And I just want to pick up on what you just said there, James, is that there's different prices depending on the site, and this just reflects one price. So could we be in a situation where people are quoted prices that are different to what's in here?
Good Chair, I don't believe so. We've run our fees and charges through Adelaide Cemeteries Authority, so they're aware of these charges. They get checked before they come to council, and that was only done a couple of weeks ago. So this reflects what I guess the packages that they offer.
Through the chair, last year we did a whole review on the fees and charges. So there were fees and charges which were in our register, but that was not available at Adelaide Cemetery Authority. And we made sure they're all aligned. So I'll be really surprised if they charge something that is not part of our fees and charges, because each year when we adopt the fees and charges, we convey those fees and charges, and that is the expectation that they would charge accordingly. I'm happy to take that offline and clarify that question, and I'll more than happy to reiterate with them that this is our adopted fees and charges, and that's what they are meant to charge.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to, again, I've got an email going with them, so I'll confirm that as well. Thank you.
Any other questions on cemetery charges? I have some other questions, but you stick with the cemetery. Okay, I had another question was the increase in advertising charges for About Town. Does the increase that's mentioned here reflect the increase in the cost of producing the About Town?
I will refer that to Sarah.
Through the chair, we increased the prices for advertising based on CPI, and the price, we do compare that to the price that we get charged for the quotes we get given from the designer based on the cost of publishing it.
So is the increased cost to produce About Town CPI increase, or is it higher or lower?
It's lower.
Okay. So we're increasing advertising by CPI, but we don't have a CPI increase in the cost of producing.
Correct.
Okay. Is that deliberate?
Through the chair, that would be to align with the overall fees and charges income, because our fees and charges income budget has been increased by the CPI. So that's why the fees and charges are increased by the CPI, so that we can get that amount of income.
Okay. And then my last question was to do with the parks and reserves. It's probably been here for the past 4 years and I've never paid attention to it, but do people actually rent out parks and reserves for whole days or half days?
Through the chair, although I'm not clear on the exact line item, but particularly Memorial Gardens is hired for weddings, where they hire that for a wedding reception as an example. That's probably the most common site. I've also known, I think Hamilton Reserve has been hired for events in the past.
Yeah, okay. So I just wondered, so different parks have different sizes and whatever else, and I just wonder if one size fits all is the best approach for that. I'm not sure. If you're playing Memorial Gardens, which has no facilities, as opposed to Hamilton Reserve or whatever that might, bigger and a playground and toilets and Walkerville Oval. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's just a question.
So, Chair, we can take that on notice. Probably bring back some stats to a future council workshop on what reserves are being booked. It'd be a handful in the last 12 months, and I would say Memorial Gardens for weddings would be the main one that I've come across.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on the fees and charges excluding the bowling club? Okay, so we've got a recommended resolution which will carve out the bowling club from it. Yeah, which Adele has already put something on the screen, so if people are happy with that, we're happy that the Deputy Mayor has moved that. So a seconder, Councillor Core, thank you. All those in favour? Against? Are you in favour or against?
I'm in favour.
Okay, one on the ball, that's carried.
Go to
Okay,
the video on that.
so Councillor Trotter has material conflict of interest and it's going to leave room to us to discuss bowling club fees and charges. I think it's worth just alerting the chamber that the bowling club has requested to change to this, but that request came in the last few days, so we haven't reflected it in these fees and charges, and it's something that we need to work through anyway because we may or may not agree to what they've put forward. Effectively, what they are asking for is a higher fee for community groups that don't hire on a regular basis. Was that it?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And through the chair, also stating that in peak seasons, when they are fully booked, they may not be able to offer that lower fee on certain dates. This was something that was raised with me, but it was officially communicated late Thursday afternoon when the agenda was pretty much finalized. But that is something that without workshopping with council, I wouldn't bring it to formal meeting. So that's why I've gone back to bowling club stating that that's what I intend to do. So I'll bring it at a future council meeting, and then subject to the sense of the room, I will put a subsequent report for these fees and charges if required. If no change is required, then it will remain as is. Thank you,
So
Chair.
that was just to alert everyone to the fact that this might come back again for the bowling club, but at the moment this is what the recommendation is. Councillor Williams.
Thanks, Mayor Jones. Mohammed, did you mean before that it was going to come back to a council meeting or to a workshop?
That's correct.
To a workshop.
To a workshop?
Yep.
I was going to say it's better coming to a workshop.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so we've got a revised recommended resolution here, or a new one. Okay, so the Deputy Mayor has moved this one. Councillor Zeppel has seconded it. Sorry, Councillor Menke, did you have a question?
Sorry, because I'm train lane. Is that just the way it's?
We split it because Councillor Trotter has a material conflict with the bowling club, so we kept everything.
But what we're voting on is what's in that.
It's just what's in the report for the bowling club, no change.
Yeah, and then we'll have a workshop about this. And
Any changes.
Future. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried.
That way, because we're all going to have conflicts with certain items over time, that we're not missing the whole thing. Yeah. Instances with me.
Okay, item 4.4, consultation results for the 3-hour parking for James Street, Gilberton. James, anything to add?
Through the chair, you'll see the recommendation that focuses on one section of James Street because the feedback was quite clear for that section, whereas the Edmund Terrace and Northcote end wasn't as clear. And yeah, taking questions on the recommendation.
Are there any questions on this report? Councillor Williams.
Not a question, just one comment on page 92, point 4. I think it's going to be presented to the March 2027 ordinary meeting, not 2026.
Additional consultation results. That was the resolution that was made.
Yeah, that's.
That was just a copy of the resolution that was made for those results to come to the March 26 ordinary meeting.
It's a January resolution.
I thought that was talking about the results of the consultation for the area between.
So there's 2.4s on that page. If you go down further, so
Sorry, up near the top.
Yeah, so that is part of the resolution that was passed in January 2026.
Oh, okay. Well, there, haven't I? Yeah, no, okay. Sorry about that.
Any other questions? Would anyone like to speak for or against? Is there a mover? Councillor Zeppel, thank you. Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. All those in favour? Carried. Okay, decision report, item 4.5, Community Memorandum of Understanding. Sarah, anything to add to this report? Okay, any questions on these reports or the MOUs? Is there a mover? Councillor Zeppel, seconded by Councillor Trotter. All those in favour? That's carried. Okay, move to item 5, confidential reports, and item 5.1, the Errol Water Draft Annual Business Plan and Budget 26-27 and Long-Term Financial Plan. We'll start with a resolution to move into confidence. That's moved by Councillor Trotter, seconded by Councillor Zeppel. All those in favour? Carried. 7:20 is moved into confidence.